Start with the developing story out of Louisville, Kentucky, where a grand jury today recommended prosecutors there that one of the three officers involved in Breonna Taylor's death be charged, but not for her death. Breonna was shot and killed by officers serving a warrant in March.
Her death has sparked nationwide outrage and protests in some cities, including Louisville. We have video from Louisville right after the charges were announced this afternoon. As you can see, protesters marched while chanting "No justice, no peace" in the streets. Our Russ Mitchell joins us now to break down exactly what happened today. And Russ, a state of emergency was declared in advance of today's announcement because they anticipated a protest.
That's right, Romney. Let's underscore. Here's the bottom line. No one has been charged with, in, or for the murder of Breonna Taylor. A grand jury this afternoon charged former Louisville police officer Brett Hankison with wanton endangerment. That, prosecutors say, for endangering Taylor's neighbors from firing his gun. The other two officers in the case were not charged. Today, Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron said the officers who fired at Taylor and her boyfriend were justified, and he said there's evidence that officers knocked and announced themselves. Now, Taylor's boyfriend, who shot at officers, says that never happened. And earlier, press accounts and interviews with neighbors backed that up. But today, Cameron stood by his investigation.
Simply put, we had to try every means necessary to determine who fired the fatal shot before the investigation could be completed. There is no doubt that this is a gut-wrenching, emotional case, and the pain that many people are feeling is understandable. I deeply care about the value and sanctity of human life. It deserves protection. And in this case, a human life was lost. We cannot forget that.
Hankison was fired shortly after the incident. The other two officers are still on administrative reassignment. Now, after today's announcement, Ben Crump, who is the attorney for the Taylor family, called the decision, quote, outrageous and offensive. Taylor's family, by the way, was calling for manslaughter charges, and last week the city settled a wrongful death lawsuit brought against them by the family, agreeing to pay them $12 million.
Yeah, Russ, I saw a lot of different reactions on social media this afternoon after that announcement. What has the local NAACP chapter said specifically about today's ruling?
Well, we spoke with Daniel Sidner, the president of the Cleveland branch, who, of course, had been watching this case very closely.
I'm not surprised, and I say that because if we're watching many of the actions kind of leading up to this moment, some of the decisions that were coming out of Louisville as it relates to some of the officers that had been involved in the unfortunate death of Breonna Taylor, there was kind of the writing on the wall that this was going to be the outcome.
And tonight at 6, we'll have a live report from Louisville, which, as you pointed out, is bracing for what could be an intense night. Yeah. We'll also get some insight from a local law professor in the case. But once again, Romney, the bottom line, no police officers charged for the death of Breonna Taylor.
That's right. Thank you, Russ. We appreciate you breaking that down for us.
Sure.